Back live with Brett James from Magic HQ, the podcast network for Orlando Magic sports fans. Magic, of course, coming off of a disappointing 1-point loss in Cleveland last night. You can follow Brett, by the way, at the Brett James 1 on Twitter. Brett, last night was a ton of fun. It was super stressful, back and forth. I think there were 10 lead changes throughout the course of the fourth quarter, but ultimately the Magic lost game 5. I called last night the series prior to the game and that the loser was done for. Now, games 6 and mostly game 7 doesn't set up well for the Magic. The rest of the series certainly doesn't favor them, but it does feel like a potential game 7 would be a coin flip now. So I am waffling a little bit on that original prediction. Where do you stand on that now that we've seen game 5 play out? Does it still feel like it's Cleveland's series?
Yeah, it should be Cleveland's series as of the way things stand right now. When you're up 3-2, you have home court game 7 if there is a game 7. And this is a team with just a lot more veteran playoff experience on their roster, especially at their own home. But you're right, it does come down to potentially a game 7 where it looks like a coin flip, but Orlando has to be worried about game 6. Cleveland has to be worried about game 6. These guys need to lock in, focus on the task at hand, and make sure that they're not getting ahead of themselves, because there is no game 7 without a game 6 victory for the Orlando Magic.
So the timeout or the non-timeout at the end of the game that fans have been debating online, where do you land on that? So Jamal Mosley choosing to keep that one in his back pocket. There's about 5 seconds left, and Franz Wagner, he darts towards the basket, gets blocked by Evan Mobley, and that's the game. What was your original thought when you started thinking about, okay, well, you had that timeout in your back pocket, could have called time, get the ball mid-court, and go from there? Where do you land on that?
No, I think it was completely fine to let the guys play out in that moment, because if Franz Wagner makes that layup, which he should have made that layup, that was just an incredible play by Evan Mobley to get that block on the left side of the basket, then nobody's arguing or debating that. Franz did a great job on that pick and roll where you saw Paolo go to the top of the key. He was wide open for a moment, but I don't have a problem with Mosley letting those guys play it out in that moment. And Franz, he beat the 2 defenders. I believe it was Strus, and then he got a step on Mobley before it ended up getting blocked. I have no issues whatsoever with Mosley allowing those guys to play it out in that moment.
Yeah, my issue isn't with that. I think a lot of fans will hyper focus on officials and timeout usage and challenges, and the game is just so much more than that. The thing that frustrates me more than a timeout used or not used is that Jarrett Allen didn't play in this game, and the Magic only scored 30 points in the paint. I did not think that was going to be the case, Brett.
Yeah, 42 points in the paint for Cleveland, 30 for Orlando. You just can't have that. And even though Orlando did a good job out rebounding Cleveland, I believe the discrepancy was 43-39. You needed to make sure that you were hammering that ball inside. Too many times I saw the ball got swung out to the perimeter, way too many early shots in the shot clock, or just contested mid-range jumpers, which some of them we made. Paolo made a lot of tough jumpers last night, but you need to exploit that, especially when there's not a big body like Jarrett Allen inside. And I don't think Orlando did enough of that last night.
So they get another crack at it on Friday. That atmosphere is going to be electric.
Yeah.
Have you started to wrap your mind around what that building is going to be like on a Friday night? Now, we don't know exactly what time the game is going to tip yet. We'll have to wait until the conclusion of Miami and Boston tonight. But still, 7, 8, doesn't matter. Friday night, game 6 in the playoffs. This should be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just an electric atmosphere, just like you said. I mean, we saw and we were there firsthand for games 3 and 4, and just what an atmosphere it was from the fans all evening long. I don't expect game 6 to be a blowout like we've seen in games 3 and 4, but I know the Kia Center is going to be rocking, and I know the entire community is going to be showing up for this Orlando team in a big time game 6.
Brett, have you noticed the more and more you make your way around town or wherever you may be, that people are wanting to talk Magic basketball, that we're starting to get that fever pitch for this basketball team in a way that can only really be an interest level that can only be generated come playoff time?
Yeah, I think it's very evident when you go around town, especially this time of the year with the young core and group of players that we have that's really electrifying. you see people out wearing more Orlando Magic memorabilia, more hats, more shirts. People are wanting to talk about the Magic. You hit it right on the head because that's exactly what this team has really done for this entire community. And it's truly a fun thing to watch across the city.
By the way, I'm talking to Brett on video right now, and you've got some pretty sweet gear on yourself. I'm just seeing that Orlando Magic HQ cap that you've got going. Is that something that people can buy? Because that's a nice lid.
No, it's actually only for the guys that work on staff for Orlando Magic HQ. So my guy Al, he had to make sure he hooked me up.
All right, hey Al, if you're listening to this segment right now, we need to find a way to get the listeners involved. Let's sell some Magic HQ hats. We'll throw it in the Zone logo on there to see what we can pull off. I'm all about the merch.
Love to see something like that.
So I want to ask you a question that is not easy. Paolo Banchero, huge performance last night, scored 39 points, 16 in the fourth quarter. Which was the true Paolo breakout performance that we've seen in the playoffs thus far? Was it game 3 at home, 31-14, or was it what we saw last night in Cleveland?
I think it was last night in Cleveland, to be honest. I mean, you need your superstars. You need guys that are going to take you to that next level to show up in the biggest moments. And even though it didn't come in a win, even though Paolo didn't have an opportunity to have that last shot, and I don't mind Franz taking that shot, what Paolo was able to do in that fourth quarter, helping will this team to get down to a last-minute opportunity to even have a chance to win the game, that is what your young superstar does. He was hitting contested shots all evening long from the mid-range, from the outside, and was just being aggressive and asserted himself all evening long. I think game 6 on the road in a high leverage moment, that is Paolo Banchero playoff performance and his coming out party.
Brett, through your 5 games now that you've been covering the team in the postseason, who's been the most enjoyable to cover? And that could be on either side. Maybe somebody that took you by surprise, or their perspective on the playoffs. And is there somebody that comes to mind for you on the Magic or the Cavs side?
I think it'd be hard not to say Mo Wagner, to be honest. I mean, Mo Wagner has been the most consistent bench player for this Orlando team, night in and night out through 5 games of the postseason, consistently bringing that nastiness, that energy, and that intensity to both sides of the court. And you see when we're at home, he's hyping the crowd up, making sure his brother's getting involved. They're talking smack, and they're doing the same thing even on the road in Cleveland. They're going to let you know that they are here. Their energy is felt, and you feel that presence even from the TV. Mo Wagner has been nothing short of sensational this postseason run, and it has been a pleasure to watch him this season and throughout these 5 games of the postseason so far.
No, that's a great answer. That guy has been the spark plug for this team and has been easily a top 5 player, maybe even higher as far as the guys that are on the roster and the way they've performed in these last 5 games. It's quite a journey that we have for this team. It's amazing. 5 games. It feels like an entire season within the season. Brett James, follow him on Twitter at the Brett James. And I'm going to see this guy on Friday night. Hopefully you see a lot of you as well for game 6 over at the Kia Center. Thanks so much, Brett.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Make sure you go and check out Orlando Magic HQ wherever you download your favorite podcasts as well. We're back with more